So we are back with Tara Lynch, and are you right in Los Angeles, Tara?
I'm right in Los Angeles, yes.
Fantastic. Just before we ended the last segment, I asked you about singing and how you're approaching it. You said you had to lock yourself in the room and rethink, and I guess I don't want to say reinvent, but figure it out. Did that change your approach to guitar? Did it change you as a guitar player,
No,
your feel, anything like that?
not at all. I wouldn't allow that, actually. I would never allow that. But, music is very mathematical. And so, when you realize where the words fit rhythmically within the math that you're playing, which for me, it's all passion math because it's all feeling. I don't read music, so it's only what I hear in my head.
You say you don't read music?
No, not at all. I can't.
Let's stick a
No.
pin in that. Go on, and then I want to ask you something about that afterwards.
Yeah, no, I can't read a lick of music. No. So basically, I record straight in. I write from here to the machine. That's it. It just goes from my brain into the recording device.
Um, probably could have used your tutelage and guidance a couple of years ago when I met a person who she was writing with a band and very 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 good songwriter, but didn't read music, and a couple people in the band did, and almost made her feel inferior as a musician because when she was trying to explain things, she could explain them by humming them or whatever, but to them, she wasn't a real musician. What would you have said to her after you telling me that you don't read music and you play to the level that you do? What would you have said to her?
Look who's on my record backing me up. Clearly, it doesn't matter that I can't read.
Right. Nothing
You
left
can't
to say. Nothing
than
left
that.
to say.
You've got theory monsters on my record. Tony McAlpine's on the record. Bjorn England. You've got theory monsters on there. Guys, Phil Susan. Guys that can read all day and night. But that's irrelevant. They can also, play by ear. I mean, I just played by ear. I taught myself every instrument. All I had to do was hear it and then I could reproduce it. If it makes a sound and it's got pitch, I can reproduce it somehow. So I just sit down and just start messing around because I've never been afraid to hit a wrong note. I mean, that's the biggest mistake people make when they approach their instruments and when they approach singing, is that they're horrified to hit a wrong note, which is, I think, the worst thing that stands in the way for people. Boy, do I hit wrong notes occasionally. It happens. I do it live all the time. And I don't care. If you want perfection, then listen to the record because we've done multiple takes until it's done right. If there was a wrong note somewhere, we've gone back and put it in, or I replayed the part. But when you play live, it's going to happen. You get distracted sometimes. A thought comes into your head, whatever happens, you trip over a cord, a cable, something's going to happen. You can't be afraid of that. That's the thing. You have to be pretty fearless and you have to be confident and know, hey, I wrote this music so I can play it any way I'm going to play it. So when I go into the studio and record with these guys who can read and all this stuff, and they say to me, what key is this in? And I'm like, the one that sounded right when I wrote it. Figure it out yourself, what you're doing.
I love that.
That's how it goes.
You're making my head spin here because you talked about playing live, and if you want to hear it perfect, listen to the record. And I did a little piece earlier today with somebody, and the whole salacious thing right now seems to be backing tracks, and every so often there'll be a piece on backing tracks, and Eddie Trunk goes bananas, and somebody else is for it. What's your thoughts on that?
Okay, so first of all, the term backing tracks is really irritating because I have played with and without tracks, but they were never backing tracks. They were, I went out and I toured and I had my producer just give me the synthesizer track because I recorded all of these sub bass notes on the record to give it a really heavy low end that you can't get live unless you have the synth track playing. And I'm not going to pay for a touring keyboardist to literally go boom, boom. You know what I mean? Every now and then. It's literally very simple stuff. So I ran the synth track. My laughing in Evil Enough in the beginning of that song, I ran that little snippet before I went into the live song. I ran in the first tour I did, I had backing vocal tracks, not my vocal, not the lead vocal, but all of the harmonies that I sang on the record. So literally I was singing with myself. Okay. I don't have any problem with people doing that. What I do have a problem with is literal backing tracks where they're literally lip syncing to their own. They're not actually playing live. They're just miming it.
Yep.
And I have a huge problem with. And when I go to a show that's been overproduced and is full of backing tracks and no one's actually doing anything, and all of a sudden they're in the middle of a riff and they go and they take a drink of water while the riff is still going, I'm very disappointed. I could never do that. I would never, and I have never. And I don't agree with that kind of backing track. I only agree in what I call supplemental tracks. In other words, you don't want to bring a keyboardist on the road and you want the keyboard solo to play, you run the keyboard track or whatever, which I don't do either because I prefer a more raw approach. You know, I'm a child of the 70s, so I like it. You know, when you hear a Led Zeppelin record, you hear everything in the world on it that's been produced there. But when you saw them live, which I was fortunate enough to do in 77 at Madison Square Garden, it was very raw. You didn't hear half of the crap that's on the record, right. You know, but you knew every song and it was perfect. Okay. So, you know, that's my approach personally. So I only used those backing tracks like a couple of times with the synths and my backing vocal. And then I dropped it because it's just annoying. And I felt like it was dumbing down the live performance in a way, having this like, whoo, all of a sudden. You either need to have someone there play it live or just don't use it. So I've gone without it and it's been a much better show. So
that's fair. That's fair. And I mean, I'm a drummer, so I know like I play with a click track live and I play with tracks live. And I know there's a skill set to doing it, right? But I also know that if you rely on it too much, to your point where if you're lip syncing it, you know, not good, right? So great answer. There was no right or wrong answer, but great answer.
Yeah.
So here's my question now. So you have this album out. So the album came out in, you said 2018, is that right?
Yeah.
So you got a bit of touring under your belt, and then all of a sudden the world blows up. We all know what happened, and we were kind of left to sit on the sidelines for a couple of years.
Yeah.
What did you do at that time? Obviously, you still had the album out. You were pushing it and promoting it and getting things out there. What else did you do? Did you work on more material? I kept saying that anybody that kind of sat in their laurels was going to be left behind when everything opened back up.
Yeah, no. I stockpiled new material. So I've already got new material wrapped up in the can with myself, Vinny Appice, Bjorn England, and Brent Woods producing again. I've already got that wrapped up and ready to go. I'm going to be releasing a couple of singles and an EP. And then I'm still going in and recording some more new stuff before I get back on the road. So I've just been writing and creating and recording and getting everything ready for, you know, now where everything's just opened up again. And, you know, I mean, even when I just toured in Europe in May, for example, I think that I don't think it's back to 100% capacity yet.
Right.
Across the board. I still think that people have the reservations about going out in big crowds. There's also a war going on over there, but you know, taking that out of the equation, you know, with respect to something like COVID, for example, and what was going on in the world, you know, the crowds are not as thick as they used to be, although they were great. Don't get me wrong, but they weren't as, you know, as full as they used to be because of the pandemic. And, you know, it thinned out because people are reserved about getting out again. And then secondly, a lot of people got hit below the belt and can't just buy a concert ticket yet, you know, things like that, you know, can't afford it. Yeah. So it's a whole collection of, we're still trying to get out of this mess, you know, that happened. But it's feeling better and better. And I think that things are picking up pretty well again.
Yeah, I think so. And I mean, I know up here, you know, we're
new material because I was holding it. I've been holding it. I've had stuff in the can for a while, but now I'm going to start releasing.
Not for much longer, right? Um, and should I say you're a multi-instrumentalist? So I can barely play my own instrument. You play a multitude. So you're a guitar player, you're a bass player, you're a drummer, you're a keyboard player, you're a chanteur. Is there anything else that I missed that you play?
Guitar, drums, bass, keys/piano, uh, upright bass, as well as either way.
Right. So, what's your first love as far as what you play?
I mean, that's the thing. I play drums and I play piano and I play bass and all this stuff, but I wouldn't call myself a drummer because I think that just a guitarist that can play drums, and that there's a big difference.
Yep.
I don't have my own style. I don't have a distinct sound. I don't have, I can play enough to join anybody and back them up. I can play enough to write the drums for my music and stuff, but I would not say I'm a drummer and go be a drummer for anybody.
Sure.
So some people would about that, have that discussion. Yes, you are a drummer. No.
Well,
to me, a drummer is, Vinny.
yeah.
That's someone so you could be a jack of all trades, right? Or you can be a virtuoso at one thing. The jack of all trades can do a lot of things on a, good enough level.
Yep.
But a virtuoso is like way above level at the one thing they really focus on. So that's Vinny on his drums. For me, that would be guitar.
Very good. And you mentioned Vinny, and it's funny because every time his name comes up, and his name's come up in a bunch of interviews, and I always feel he's the one guy that I feel I should be cutting royalty checks to, because when I was coming up, I stole so many different licks off him and made them my own. But I mean, he's just one. I saw him in a drum clinic with his brother, and his brother did the first solo, and then Vinny came on, and the volume just went. It was just incredible, the power the man has.
Yeah, nobody hits like Vinny. Nobody. And that's why, I'm always working with him, because that's the sound I want to hear on my music. That's when I write it, that's what I hear in my head. And it's perfection.
He's always the one guy that I reference to, Tara, that if anybody's ever giving a metal drummer a hard time, he's got so much swing in his playing for a heavy hitter that I challenge anybody to defy it. And enough about him. It's about you. But I'm just saying he's one of my faves. So it's a good person for you to be working with.
It's just good luck. That he happened to be a friend of mine, and like I said, I can play all these instruments, and I could have recorded the record playing all the instruments myself, but it wouldn't sound the same. I mean, the whole point of calling him in was to put his special sauce on it. Same with Tony and his keys. I wouldn't have come up with a keyboard solo like that. Are you kidding me? He flies. I can't play like that, on the keys. Geez, no. So, you've got different people that you want to work with for a reason, So.
Please don't mention the royalty check thing to him, because the last thing I would want was a New Yorker dude calling me up saying, "Hey, I'm going to take you up on that." But anyway, all joking aside, I want to be respectfful of your time. It's a nice day in LA. So why don't you tell my viewers, A, where they can find you, B, what you have coming up, and when you're going to get back out there and be playing some live venues.
Okay, well, I called off touring for the rest of the year because I'm working on the new releases that are going to be coming out. I don't have exact dates yet, but I am pretty sure at this point that it's going to be January. And there'll be a single and a video that comes out with it called Badassery. So look for that. And that will be on an EP that will be coming shortly after. And touring will resume next year. I'm already working on the schedule. So go to taralynch.com and click tour. And you can see all of my updated tour dates there. You can also follow me on Bands in Town, please. Just go to my name there and click follow. You can listen to my music anywhere. You can stream music, and I have a store on my website as well where you can buy the autographed CDs and stuff like that. So it's, YouTube channel as well, Tara Lynch Official. I can pretty much be found any way any artist can be found, just the same.
Tara Lynch, thanks so much for doing this. And I'm sorry that A, I can't work a calendar, and B, it took us so long to get it done, but we finally did get it done, and I really appreciate your time. It was a great chat, and enjoy your day.
It was a pleasure. Thank you so much. Take care.
Peace.